Hey, it's Jacob Palmer from AttractMoreGirls.com, and I want to welcome you to episode 4 of the Verbal Mastery series. And again, I'm going to come to you with another interaction with it broken down step by step to help you to learn how to never run out of things to say. Hope you enjoy it. Take care. See you on the side.
Oh, okay.
Now open almost immediately with Keynote Touch.
I'm not Middle Eastern. No.
And I make an assumption. You look Middle Eastern. Instead of asking, where are you from? You make these assumptions. Assumptions are going to make women contribute to the conversation.
What are you? I'm Italian. Really?
So now she's like, no, I'm not Middle Eastern. And then I go, what are you? She's like, I'm Italian. So now that I make that assumption, I can ask her a question, right? I didn't come up to her asking her question after question after question. So now she wants to add to the conversation.
See, this is a bad thing because maybe when I get along.
Why?
So now I'm like, oh, this is a bad thing. I'm playfully teasing her, right? I'm doing a takeaway. Me and her will not get along. And now she's into my frame. She's like, why?
Because I'm Mexican.
Why?
So, the Mexicans and Italians
okay. I think we're past that, but like, okay.
I'm actually Mexican. So
You what?
I'm Mexican.
Oh.
I'm black and Mexican.
I like that. Okay.
So it's just like, Italians are like supposed to be hot-headed.
I'm not that. Yes, but I am not. It's just my background.
Okay.
So I'm like, no, we won't get along because, Italians are hotheads and I'm black and Mexican. She's like, no, I'm not like that. I know because of my background, right? So she's kind of qualifying herself a little bit.
You're the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
You're the exception
I'm
to
also
the rule.
half Jewish, so they're like, it's...
So now I'm making fun of, oh, you're the exception to the rule. And now she's adding value to that. She's adding more value to the conversation. She's telling me a little bit more about herself. Oh, I'm actually half Jewish.
There's a lot going on.
See, it's all bad.
And oh, bad? Wow, okay.
We definitely
Bye-bye.
We definitely want to get.
So now she's being playful with me. She's like, oh, bad, what? Okay, goodbye. So she's in my frame.
That's not.
I know, we would just like fight, and be like,
We can't get along because I'm Jewish and Italian.
she's Jewish and Italian, I'm black and Mexican, so it would just be, we would be like,
So clearly, we're just gonna butt heads.
yeah, we would be at war all day, every day.
So it's like, oh, we would be at war all day, every day. So it's just playful teasing, right? And you can see right here, she's like smiling. She gets it. She's playing along. It's interesting. I'm not asking her boring questions. I'm not expecting her to carry the conversation. I'm being playful.
I'm not from LA.
And now I cut that conversational thread. Instead of holding on to that conversational thread and letting it die out and there being awkward pauses, I cut that thread and I go into another assumption. You're not from LA. And then she asks, oh, well, I'm not from LA.
I've lived here for a year, but I'm not from here.
People from LA are like, they're very standoffish.
They are, usually.
They're not very outgoing.
No.
And you say hi, and they look at you wrong for getting
It's an
social.
immediate judgment. I
Especially
know.
me being black, they're like, is he gonna rob me or ask me for
Do
change?
you really find that?
Like, I was walking down the street one time
Well, this place
in
is...
Wilshire,
Yeah.
I was walking by this lady.
So now I'm going to tell a story about what the conversation we were having. It's a relevant story. It's not a random story. So some guys, they'll have this conversation with a woman and then they'll start telling her a story that has nothing to do with the conversation. So you want to be able to have things that are relevant, right? So after the assumption, we got on the topic about people from LA and how they are. And then now she's asking me, oh, do you really find it like that? Because I said, oh, well, I'm black, LA, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, do you really find it like that? So now I'm going to tell her a story that's relevant to our conversation. Nothing random. Everything's playful and smooth.
Coming from work, and she holds her purse, and I'm like, it's broad daylight in front of Whole Foods. Like, yeah, I'm gonna rob you in front of Whole Foods.
Dangerous place? What are you talking
I'm
about?
gonna rob you in front of Whole Foods.
So see, now she's getting it. She's like, yeah, I'm I'm in front of I'm telling her the story. I'm in front of Whole Foods. This lady holds her purse. She's like, "It's the most dangerous place in the world." So she's bought into this interaction, right? She is investing.
At 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
People here,
Like, imagine the police like, we have a Negro in Santa Monica. That would be the easiest catch ever. It wouldn't be very difficult to find. I'd be like,
but maybe, this place is very, like,
it's very diverse.
it is, but it also draws, like, kind of a specific type.
Bougie,
So,
and
yeah.
uppity.
Yes.
But see, I'm more ghetto, so I can do both.
See, now she's like, we went from that conversational thread to where we currently were as a conversational thread. And she's like, bougie. And I'm like, oh, yeah, bouge ghetto. So you see how everything is flowing smoothly because I'm keeping the conversation relevant. I'm not asking a lot of questions. I'm making assumptions and I'm building on what she's giving me. So a lot of my students and a lot of guys say, I don't know what to say. I'm running out what to say when I start the conversation. But half of a conversation is listening. And if you listen to the woman while you're talking to her, she's going to give you all the material that you need, all the conversational material and topics that you need to continue to keep the conversation going. And if you run out of stuff to say, cut the conversational thread and make an assumption.
I'm like, bougie and ghetto.
That's a good way to be.
Yeah, but see, I know how to handle my ghetto.
Uh-huh.
And then I know when to be bougie and pronounce my E's
That's
and my
right.
R's.
You're versatile.
See, I'm like, I'm bougie and ghetto. I know how to pronounce. I know when to pronounce my E's and my R's. And she's like, oh, you're versatile, right? So she's listening to me and she's in the frame. Okay, this you can tell this girl's not bored. Okay, she is not bored. This is an interesting conversation for her, and very rarely does she have conversations with guys at the bar. Okay, most of the conversations she probably had after me were probably boring. Okay, our conversations that she had with most guys at bars are boring. So you want to be interesting conversation wise. Okay, because that's what's gonna separate you from every other guy out there. You cannot be boring.
I'm like Obama, but better looking.
See, I'm like Obama, but better looking. So playful teasing because that's a relevant comment because she said, "Oh, you're diverse." So when she said that, I thought, okay, Obama, he's half black, half white, right? Things of that nature. So that was my link. But because I listened to her, that's how I was able to come up with that. None of this is scripted. This is just off the top of the head. It's being in a moment and being playful at the same time. You see, she's laughing, I'm laughing, we're having a good time.
Wow. It's hard to top that.
So it sounds like you have a thing for black men. That's what it sounds like.
I just love
So I just make an assumption. She's like, well, it's hard to top Obama. And then I turn that into something sexual. Oh, it sounds like you have a thing for black men, right? So it's like, it's being direct, it's being sexual, but it's being playful at the same time, right? So it's not so overt, right? And it's not overly sexual. It's sexual, but it's playful. And it's put in the frame and the context of her, or what she's talking about.
I voted for him twice.
Okay, so I think me and you are gonna get along now. I think this will work out.
She said, I voted for him twice. So I'm like, oh, I think we're going to get along now. I think this is going to work out. And again, earlier in the conversation, I was like, this is not going to work out. We're going to fight like cats and dogs. Look, that's great to do, but you don't want to overdo that, right? Because if you keep doing that, it's going to come off as a technique. So it's a balance. Like when you find something that you truly like about her, then you can say, you know what? I think we'll get along now. Think of it as a seesaw, right? Like you want to keep her guessing. Does this guy like me? Doesn't he like me? Is he assaulting me? Is he teasing me? You kind of want to keep that in her mind because you're a challenge. If you lay down all your cards and you basically give her all your approval, you're boring. She's on to the next guy. But what's going to keep a woman staying where you are and engaged in a conversation is that you're giving her these seesaw emotions. Okay, so again, you never want to just do one thing over and over. Had I kept saying we're not gonna get along, she probably would have got tired of that. So I gotta switch it up a little bit. Oh, you know what? You're actually pretty cool. We probably will get along. It's a balance.
I think we get along.
We have to have a Jewish wedding, though.
A Jewish
Yeah,
wedding?
we can't have
No.
a Mexican wedding. Or a black wedding, because a Mexican wedding will be too many people, we can't fit anybody in. And then the black wedding will be together. So we have to have like a Jewish wedding. Because if we had an Italian
Yes,
wedding,
So now I'm projecting, right? I'm assuming that me and her are gonna get married. That's assume a lot, right? Me and her are gonna get married. We're gonna be together. So I'm like, you know what? We can't have a black wedding. We can't have a Mexican wedding. We would have to have a Jewish wedding. So I'm doing that all in a playful way, right? And this comes from prior to when I said, "Oh, it sounds like you have a thing for black men." So I'm just building upon that, and then I'm projecting a future of her and I together, but in a way that's playful, not in a way that's like creepy.
be very happy.
yeah, is your mom Jewish or your
My mom is.
And then she brought her mom in. She's playing along with me. You know what? My mom would be very happy. So she's buying into the frame.
Yeah, because my brother's telling me if the mom is Jewish, you're considered Jewish.
Yes, yes.
If the dad's not, you're not considered.
But I didn't grow up that.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just the way it is. But I didn't grow up religious. So
Okay.
I'm very,
I'm not
like,
religious either, so
very,
you're very like.
I'm not attached to that.
You know what's funny? I'll let you go because I'm gonna hear what you're saying.
So there, right there is a time constraint. Her friend was standing right there, so I'm just like, I'll let you go, because I know you're here with your friends, and that actually ends up buying me 2 more minutes. So time constraints, I know they're old school, but they still do work. And now she mentioned how she's not religious, and then now I'm gonna tell a story off of that. Again, listening to her, I'm able to talk to her about stuff that's relevant and build off of the conversational topics that she is giving me by listening.
I was in the gym and I was talking. I was just like talking. This person trying to convert me to like Jesus. They're like, "Do you want to come to the Bible? The Bible
It
study with me?"
happens.
And I'm like, "No, I don't believe in that stuff. Like, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Like, I meditate, whatever." She brings out an iPhone and she starts reading Bible verses to me.
Wow.
And I'm like,
She's dedicated, you know?
I was like, respect. I respect that. But I was like,
Dedicated to her passion,
I was like, but
her message.
She's like, just come, you know, like we're different. I'm like, oh, okay.
I appreciate your effort, but
And see, here she's adding, that's a true story, by the way. Tell stories that are actually true. And now she's listening. I can tell she's listening because she's adding to it. She's listening to me and she's adding value. She's contributing to the conversation. And this is what you want.
Yeah, it's like, all right. What's your name, by the way?
Angie.
I'm Eric.
Eric?
Yes.
Nice.
So look, 4 minutes and 36 seconds in, I didn't even know her name. And this is actually a good thing because most guys go up to women and are like, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Right? You want to be different from every other guy. Make assumptions, teasing, push pull, tell short stories. When you do that, there's feel such a connection with you and a girl. You're like, oh, what is your name, by the way? Right? So you're totally different. I didn't even know her name. But once we built that comfort connection, now she wants to tell me her name, right? Some guys go up and they're like, what's your name? The girl's like, they either blow them off there, they like hesitantly tell them. Here, there was no hesitation because it was like, we're already laughing. I'm already teasing her. I know a bit about her life. She knows a little bit about my life. So she's more willing to give me her name. I have more value to her. Okay? When a woman doesn't contribute anything to a conversation, it's because you have no value to her. You don't mean anything to her yet. And rightfully so, because she has so many guys coming up to her.
Andrew, you seem like you do something very like professional.
So I moved on from that conversational thread, and now I'm making another assumption about what she does. So anytime a conversational thread ends, I'm just going to the next one by making an assumption.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Somebody's manager.
No, I am not someone's manager.
No? What do you
No.
do? What do you do?
I work in marketing.
Shut up.
Yes.
I mean,
So again, because I built up so much value, I can make an assumption. If I don't get it right, then I can ask a question, right? And you see, I don't ask a lot of questions. But because I have that value, I can ask that question.
in marketing, so.
Well, I can tell you're in sales.
Oh,
You're selling. You're selling.
Well, I don't have to sell that hard because I'm just so good looking.
So she's like, I can tell you're in sales because you're selling, right? Basically, like you're chasing me, and I'm like, well, I don't have to sell that hard because I'm good looking, right? So just playful teasing, push pull.
Everything else just falls into place. Where it's like whatever. Anyway, I'll let you back to you.
All right.
But you've been
Yes.
cool.
Yes. You're cool as well.
So those tents. How do you feel about the coffee too?
So look, again, at least I go for the close. Okay, there's 5 minutes and 12 seconds. I know. Look, most guys they talk to a woman this long and they don't even go for the close. They don't even try to get the number. Okay, so look, if a woman's talking to you for that long, there may be some interest. Even if she says no, you have to try because the thing is now you're getting into the habit of closing. Um, so she I go for the close, right? So that night I got a lot of numbers, okay? And even if she doesn't give me her number, it doesn't matter because now I'm just in the habit of closing for her. So when I talk to the next girl that likes me, I'm just in the habit of asking for the number, right? You want to get in the habit of just closing, not just asking for the number, moving them around the venue, trying to take them home, things of that nature, right? So you just want to get into that habit, okay? A lot of guys, they would have talked to a girl this long and they never would have asked for the number or they would have asked for it too soon. Okay, so you just want to get into the habit. What she says doesn't matter. The fact is, this interaction led me to other great interactions. And sometimes that happens. You talk to a girl, you have a good conversation. Maybe she's not interested, maybe she has a boyfriend, who knows? And you ask, and she may or may not say no. But even if she does, you move on to the next interaction. It's no big deal. You're just building momentum all throughout the night. And even during the day, you're building momentum if you do day game. But throughout the night, you're just building momentum.
You know,
Tell me no. I just have to ask you.
I understand. I'm gonna say no, but really because I'm leaving LA in 2 weeks.
You leaving us in 2 weeks?
Moving back to North Carolina.
Really?
Getting out of this. Going back to the
That means
more down to earth lifestyle.
that means that we should hang out before you.
So look, now I'm being a little bit more persistent. Okay, I want to ask for it again. That's what I say. Ask for it 2 or 3 times. Especially, I was talking to her for what 5 minutes, 38 seconds. I'm not gonna give up that easily. Whether she says yes or no, and I don't care about that. The part is I'm building a habit of asking. I'm building a habit of being a little bit persistent. Not overly persistent, but a little bit persistent. And it pays off with other interactions because this is all about conversation is about building good habits. Game is about building good habits.
That means we should coffee or tea. That's all that means.
I appreciate your
You know I'm a salesman, so I can't take the first no.
I get it. Listen, I get it.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Take care, alright?
Okay, so that's that. She said no. Tried twice. That's okay. She said she was leaving LA in 2 weeks, and maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. Doesn't matter. I think on that same night I got 5, 6 other numbers. So no big deal, okay? So even when you don't get the number, it's not a failure. You're building upon the next interaction, okay? So I want to thank you for watching. This is the 4th episode of Conversational Mastery. Take care. I'll see you on the other side. Hey, thanks for watching episode 4 of the Verbal Mastery series. Hope you got a lot out of that. And if you haven't, subscribe below to the channel for more content. And below also, download my free 60-page ebook on the ultimate guide to women in dating. The link is below, totally free. Take care. See you on the other side.